Hi guys, this is Sabrina here again at the Whale and Dolphin Conservation Office. Uh, I am just going to wait a little bit to make sure that I'm live, that I'm working, and for a few more people to join us. I really do enjoy when lots of people join us. So we're going to just hold off just a few minutes, give some people time to jump on if they will. I'm going to see if I can try and figure out how to have the comments up too. Ah, ignore that. Yeah, so I'm just pulling up the comments too. If you are watching, I absolutely cannot wait if you guys can put in the comments where you're watching from. I always do love to see what parts of the United States or even what parts of the world are watching us. So just comment below if you're watching with kids, how old they are, or what part of the United States or world, sorry, what part of the world you're even watching from. I have a pretty fun slideshow for you today because we are talking about Earth Day, one of the coolest, I think, holidays. I don't know. I also really like Halloween, but Earth Day is really, really fun too. So we'll be talking about Earth Day today because WDC is starting a challenge for you. So we want you to do 50 for the 50. Hashtag, bring that back. I think it was Jimmy Fallon that did that. Hashtag. So yeah, we'll be talking in just a few minutes. I want to give it like one more minute for some more people to join us. Again, my name is Sabrina. I'm the program associate here at the Whale and Dolphin Conservation. I'm currently in our empty office because we're on about week 5, I think, of working from home. So it's kind of weird being in the office by yourself, but I have you guys. That's all that matters. But let's jump into it. Like I said, I have it's a pretty short live stream for you guys today, but I just really thought it was really important to talk about Earth Day. Because Earth Day, as I said, it's actually the 50th anniversary this year. So the first Earth Day happened in 1970. And most of this information does come from the Earth Day Network, which is I believe it's a nonprofit that's solely based on focusing, and basically their day is tomorrow. Because back in 1970, 20 million people took to the streets to protest and to bring awareness to our Earth and how we're treating it, and really choose a day to celebrate the Earth. And that 2 million people at that time was about 10% of the entire population. So it really got out there. And ever since then, Earth Day has been building up a momentum of encouraging people to take activism at that time, whether you were just enjoying the Earth for everything that it has, all the awesomeness, or maybe taking a stance on that day to protest, maybe you're doing something to help the Earth. All those things were kind of beneficial and something that tied all the Earth Days together. So now in 2020, on our 50th anniversary of Earth Day, it really is recognized as one of the planet's largest civic events. Again, it encompasses every single person. Every single person can celebrate Earth Day. And there's not just one way that you do it. So for example, Thanksgiving, you kind of have dinner with your family and friends. But Earth Day is different. There's so many ways that people can be unique in how they celebrate Earth Day. And I think that's something that more and more people are starting to recognize. So more especially for WDC, we think that Earth Day is really important because when you think about it, the oceans make up about 71% of the Earth's surface. 71%. That is a huge, huge amount. And it contains about 97% of Earth's water. That's our oceans. So it really is that life source when it comes to the Earth and everything. And to tie it all up, whales. They play a very important role in Earth Day. And I kind of touched on this, I believe, a couple live streams ago when I was talking about whale poop. But I just want to highlight it again because this is just a very, very important thing that I think people should learn about. So we have phytoplankton. Phytoplankton is basically plants that live in water. They're little tiny microscopic things, and they form that surface water ocean forest. basically? Well, they float at the surface, they get sunlight, and whales, they can't poop when they're deep, deep down. So they come up to the ocean surface because there's no water pressure, or there's less pressure, so the poop can actually come out. So the poop comes out and it helps to fertilize all that phytoplankton, because phytoplankton, like I said, is basically plants. It needs sunlight and then it gets that nutrients from whales pooping. So as a result, that phytoplankton is creating over 50% of the oxygen that we're breathing. Over 50%. Absolutely incredible when you think about it. And so those whales, simply by pooping and helping to fertilize that phytoplankton, they are creating oxygen, they're fighting climate change, helping sustain fish stocks. And that will probably be another Facebook Live that we talk about a little bit later about how awesome whales are, even when they're not pooping. But truly, as what we say, ocean's gardeners, whales play a vital and critical role in keeping our ocean and our planets healthy. So I want you guys to take 2 deep breaths. Ready? 1, 2. So your moment of Zen for the day. That's because of that. So like I said, over 50% of the oxygen that we are breathing is coming from whales fertilizing. Absolutely important, and something that I kind of want to keep in mind when it comes to Earth Day. So as we're celebrating Earth Day and as we are getting outside, maybe keep in the bottom or in the back of your head that, hey, it's because of whales pooping that is creating oxygen for me to be able to enjoy. As awesome as trees are, because trees are also very awesome too. And so this Earth Week, WDC wanted to challenge people to spend some time outdoors for Earth Day. And while that may be our preferred way of spending our time outdoors, unfortunately, due to the circumstances, we really can't. And that's okay, because you can also spend Earth Day doing this kind of stuff. So just by simply enjoying some of the beauty that our spring is bringing right now. Spring has a lot of flowers and some sort of nicer weather sometimes, depending on where you are. So that is what we're encouraging you to do. Spend some time outdoors. And there's a whole list of stuff that we can do. Just off the top of my head, you can go for a walk, or if you like to run, some people do. Maybe bike ride is your preferred activity. You could get your hands dirty and maybe plant some native plants. Native gardening is really, really important, and it's beneficial because it can help sustain a lot of the native wildlife, so the native birds and bees and that kind of stuff. You could walk your dog, or if you're like, Sabrina, I don't have a dog, maybe walk your cat or your kid or your significant other or whatever. Decorate with some chalk. If you have a driveway or even some sidewalk and you have some chalk, then hey, I think that is definitely a great idea to spend some time outdoors, maybe provide some entertainment and some beauty for your neighborhood. If you are not really an active kind of person, totally cool. I understand completely. Grab a book then and read if you have a nice day this week. You could bring out some speakers and during the daytime, hopefully no one else is sleeping, and have a dance party. Just have some fun. Maybe you can get your neighbors to dance too. They'll dance over there. Maybe they'll dance on their neighborhood. Just kind of have fun with it. But overall, this is our challenge for you, is to see if you can get a whale to fit in your driveway. Bum, bum, bum. And I'll get to that very shortly. But first, I do want to just say, if you're doing any of these outdoors activities, or during this week when you do get outdoors, or even if you can't get outdoors, that's totally fine due to health reasons or whatever. Just please practice social distancing and safe and healthy measures when you're doing any of these activities, please. I just want you to stay safe. But how big is a whale? So WDC, as a fun activity for you guys to do if you are outdoors, is to see if you can fit a whale in your driveway, basically. One of the coolest things, and something that I never realized, is when you are seeing a whale on a whale watch or in pictures, you're not seeing the full extent of the whale. You're only seeing the little tiny bit that's above the water. There's still a whole expanse of a whale underneath. I keep pointing down here, but there's not a whale. So this activity can be really fun because it can help you and your kids and other people be able to actually visualize how truly big a whale is. So it's super easy. What you would need is, oh gosh, I have a spelling error. Some measuring tape or a measuring stick, something that can help you see at least how big how a foot is. You can use some chalk or something to help measure specific lengths, and our webpage. So our webpage, we'll post it in our comments below, but it has this very neat graph with a few different species of whales that you can then try and measure out. So we have the actual measurements of them in feet and meters, if you prefer metric system. And so we kind of just pick these because these are the general species of whales that most people know about. We also wanted to try and keep it somewhat educational. So we talk about in the activity, if you download the activity worksheet, we talk about how some of them are toothed whales and some of them are baleen whales. So you can kind of see how some of the baleen whales may be bigger and some of the toothed whales may not grow as big. So we'll let you think and check that out a little bit on yourself. But I ended up doing this on one nice day a couple of weeks ago because I wanted to see, did a whale fit on my driveway? So I'm lucky to live in a neighborhood. I have a somewhat decent driveway. And on one nice day, I went out with my roommate, convinced her to come out with me and grab some chalk and a tape measure. And so I ended up having to move our cars out of the way. I tried to see if whales would fit in my driveway. Well, let me tell you, 3 species did. So you can see here, we have a harbor porpoise. That one at least did fit. It was 5 feet. And barely. So we got a harbor porpoise to fit on my driveway. A bottlenose dolphin is about the length of our driveway. And the orca, so 30 feet long. That was probably about the extent of our driveway. So you can see in that picture, the very start of it, and it's not very straight and narrow, but you can see me at the very end showing the end of the 30 feet. So that was pretty much the extent of my driveway. And even my roommate, who is not really into whale things as much as I am, but is starting to learn because of I, she was shocked. She's like, wow, an orca can just barely fit. A humpback whale did not fit in my driveway. So I had to take to the streets. Luckily, one of our neighbors was out, and so some of their kids helped me, kept socially distant, and we just handed the tape measure because we wanted to see how big, if an orca just barely fit in a driveway, what was it compared to a humpback whale? So humpback whales can be around 40 to 50 feet. So we have 50 feet here, and you can see me on one end, and then you can see my neighbor all the way at the other end. So that is 50 feet. Pretty much about the spacing between our house and their house. So then we had to see, what about the blue whale? So some of you guys may know, but blue whales are one of the largest whale species, and they can be around 100 feet long. You may not even be able to see my neighbor. He's right there. So almost at the other house past my neighbor's house was how far 100 feet is. So again, truly, it was absolutely kind of wild to see how big these animals actually are when you're comparing it to my car or my driveway or that short expanse of the street, really. And you also just kind of had some fun with it too. So as we drew them out, we're like, huh, I wonder how big I am. So we learned that my roommate is pretty much the size of a harbor porpoise, so about 5 feet. Whereas I am about like 3/4-ish, but like not really, of a bottlenose dolphin, so 12 feet long. You can just see that I'm stretching out, but like not even at the other far end. So overall, it is a pretty fun activity that you can do. You can do it by yourself if you don't have to live with anyone or you just don't feel like dealing with anyone. It is possible to do by yourself. It's a bit trickier. But you can also have 2 people or 3 people join within a social distancing or within your household. If you're like, whoa, Sabrina, I don't have a driveway. I don't have a big road or anything. That's totally fine. How about seeing if your kitchen is about the size of a dolphin, or maybe you have a hallway. See if your hallway is about the size of one of the species of whales. It truly is pretty eye-opening when you start to measure things out in comparison to different whale species. So the next step after that is to challenge someone. We want to make this go viral. So when you do that thing, and even if you don't measure a whale, say you just decided, Sabrina, I wanted to go outside and I wanted to read a book in the sunlight. That sounds beautiful. So take a picture and then tag someone and tag WDC. And we want you to use the hashtag 50 for the 50. So you can either tag us on Facebook, on Instagram, or Twitter. We want to see what you guys are doing. We want to see what you're doing to celebrate the 50th anniversary, and we'll try to retweet those or share them on Instagram or share them on Facebook. We want to get you guys as excited about it as we are. Because truly Earth Day is, like I said, one of the truly greatest holidays, I believe, because we get to reflect on the beauty that we currently have. So this absolutely amazing picture where you can't even see a whale, but you can see two whale blows or them exhaling out of the water. And out of the 71% of the ocean surface, we have beauty on land too. And we think this is a great way to showcase a lot of the beauty from all over the world when you guys tag us. We want to see that and we want to share it as well. So that is about the extent of my, at least a slideshow. If you guys have any questions, I definitely want to see what questions you have. I'm gonna try and shut this off. Whoop, that's my face. So if you guys have any questions, pop them in the comments below. I'll see if I can get to them and answer any questions that you guys have. But yeah, so sorry, I'm just checking out the some of the comments. In the activity, we do have a baby whale, so we have a baby humpback as well that you can compare an adult-sized humpback and then a baby humpback, because that was pretty fun too to see where a newborn humpback may be compared to an adult one. But overall, I just want you guys to have fun with it, see what can come out of it, and thank you so much for joining us on the live stream. I hope you had a blast with Stephen last Thursday. He taught us about biomimicry, and if you haven't checked it out, it was very entertaining, and I learned so much because I knew nothing about biomimicry. But we have Colleen coming up on Thursday, and she's going to be awesome because she's giving us an intro to policy talk. Policy work is something we do here a lot at WDC, and something that isn't very easy to show. So when it comes, it's not the fun aspect of saving whales, really. It's not glorious and beautiful and edgy. It's kind of a lot of meetings and a lot of phone calls, and I truly commend people who do policy work. So she'll be on Thursday at 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, and she'll give an awesome talk about policy and kind of that slow start to what it takes to protect whales. So thank you so much for joining us, guys. I hope you had a blast, and I can't wait to see what your 50 for the 50 hashtag challenge looks like. Stay safe, everyone.